We're good to go. All right, we are good to go. So we're going to talk about Google Hangouts in the classroom. And in fact, you are all going to be part of a Hangout. So just so you know that. We are going to be live streaming this. Everybody wave. Everybody wave. Hello, hello. We are live streaming this right now to the world, which is pretty amazing. Again, it's something we take for granted, but the idea that I can stream right now and literally millions of people could watch, the technology behind that, the fact that it's all free and available to you, all you need is a Google account, that's pretty impressive. That's pretty crucial. So what we're going to talk about is how we use Hangouts in our schools. So I'm from Maine. It's a little bit chillier there than here right now. We came down on Sunday. We flew down. I have myself and a couple of my students. Here's one of my tech Sherpas. This is Laura. She's going to kind of pick up where I left off. Here are my boys. Okay, I have 2 boys, 7 and 10, and we are the tech Sherpas. What that means is basically we provide tech support for students and teachers and people from all over the world. So that website, techsherpas.org, that brings you here. And you can go in, and if you have a question, something that you want more information about, does not have to be Google related. Just go on and fill this form out right here. Just ask me what kind of question you want or what kind of you're looking for. My students will take the week, research that question, and then the following week provide a live web stream tutorial on how to answer that question. So we've been doing that for educators from all over the world. People ask us questions about all kinds of things. We'll get a question something like this. So how do your seniors transfer their Google account data from a school domain to a personal account? That's a pretty useful one, right? Not only for our students, but for everybody. So our students will go on, they'll create a live tutorial. We actually have right here, here's the video. One of our students that's right here, Austin, every wave, there's Austin there. She created a live tutorial for that very purpose. We post it, and now everybody has it. So if you have any questions beyond today, jump on techsherpas.org, and you will see that. So additionally, we've now created a book that we're going to be selling. It is going to be published actually next month, so it's not available yet. But that will have step-by-step tutorials and all the steps I'm going to show you. I'll show you this, and it's kind of quick, and I know it can be overwhelming with the idea that I got to remember all this stuff. So this is exactly for that purpose. Again, it's at that same website, techsherpas.org, and here's the book, and this will go through step-by-step with screenshots, the whole 9, of what to do step-by-step, explaining how to do the steps of it. Okay? So if you're interested in that, again, techsherpas.org, you scroll down right here, there's an email place, just put your email in, we will email you when it's ready to live, ready to go, and send you that link, and go from there. So what are Google Hangouts? Google Hangouts now are really kind of encompassed for Google themselves all kinds of different pieces. They are video editing, or video Skyping, basically. They are also, I can do just phone calls. If I want to call somebody with just data streams, I can use Google Hangouts. If I want to text, if I want to IM, it does all these things at once. So pretty much any device that you have, once you install Google Hangouts, you can use to communicate with somebody else. You can do group chats, you can do individuals, really kind of whatever the needs that you're trying to fill, it will work for that. It is still officially part of Google Plus for now. Right now, Google is actually taking away some of the components from Google Plus, like photos and streams, and they're kind of separating them out. Why that's important to you, specifically as teachers, is if you have students that are under 13, they cannot have Google Plus turned on, so that's a thing. Whereas, so if you want to use Hangouts with a classroom that's younger, what we do is we'll have the teacher will have an account, we'll use that as a class set, and we'll do interviews that way. We'll have video conferencing, that kind of thing. But for individual students to have their own account, they have to be 13 years old or older. If you do try to sign in with a 13-year-old or under account, it will freeze the account. It will actually suspend it. Just be aware of that. So once they connect that, and Google Hangouts is its own thing, again, if you think about it like Skype combined with IM, combined with instant messaging, combined with all the different types of ways that you communicate now in one place. We know Google's all about collaboration. We use it for Google Docs, we use it for all these different things. To be able to do that video component, if I want to see who I'm talking with, let's say I'm working on a Google Doc and I want to see them and I'm not in the same room with them, I've yet to find a better solution that works as well. Yes, you can Skype back and forth, but I want to see the Google Doc right there as I'm working on it. And I was surprised when we started doing this with our students and our teachers, how important it was to see people's faces as you're working with them virtually, right? You can see the text, but if you can see them and talk to them, it makes a huge difference. Here are some of our examples. I'm going to hand it over to Laura a little bit and talk about some examples that she uses in class.
So a really important concept to understand with Google Hangouts is how it works in the classroom. And at McComas and district-wide, we have several situations where we use Hangouts to have a better education. Hangouts in the online history course, we have a history course where our teacher uses the Hangouts to create debates, and he'll videotape those debates. And like one day he was out, so he could view them outside of the classroom and communicate with us as that was happening. And then we have some other situations, like specifically in our district, we have an 8th grade algebra class, which is an accelerated class that allows the students to step up in the math level and be able to learn algebra. A big component of this is that the students get together at the middle school, and they have a teacher at the high school who comes and they have a Google Hangout, and they're able to have a math class within that Google Hangout, and that works to help them better get through that algebra class.
One thing that surprised me is, so this is Mr. Dominic, and he's at the high school, and he's doing a live video hangout with some kids at one middle school, another middle school, and another middle school at the same time. So they're all in the same virtual space. We didn't have enough kids at each school to have a teacher just teach that course. We had like 5 kids at one school, 4 kids at another school, 3 kids at another school. But all together it made a class. And I asked the students after they did this, they'd done it for the year, I said, Mr. Dominic, they only physically saw him once at the beginning of the year, like in the same room. The rest of the time it was totally virtual. I asked them, did you feel like he was your teacher? And they're like, yeah, absolutely, Mr. Dominic, sure. Like, they didn't think anything of it. We would project it like this. We'd have the hangout like this. He'd see the class, and he'd be up in the front of the screen. He'd use a whiteboard, so they'd be working together. Some of the tools built into Hangouts, I'll show you. They could do virtual drawings, like for equations and that kind of thing. But they very much felt like he was your regular teacher, just happened to be in a different location.
Another one that we have that I'm involved in specifically is the Writing Center, which there is a little room off to the side of an English room that kids that have a study hall, they go in there and they use Hangouts to reach other kids in the lower schools or other schools to give them grammatical or like they're editing on their papers. And we use Hangouts so that we can give them grammatical support, or we can go through and talk with them, not just editing their papers, but to give them the explanations that they need so that next time when they're writing the paper, it's not just a reoccurring error, it's they've learned from it. And they have the face-to-face connection so that it's not just someone talking on a screen.
The other thing, too, that's realistic about this, if you imagine, so this is a 4th grader here, and there's a high school student that he's talking with. Now, us teachers, we're cool, I guess, but you have a high school student that's providing help for them. They, the sky's the limit, right? Like, oh, I got this high school kid in there listening to me, and it was really good. This one's actually projected in the front, so the other kids could see this student and how she would react to this reading. The student was reading his story, right? And she wasn't like, oh, that's awful. She was like, I like this, but maybe you could think about doing it this way better. And she was modeling in a very real way to all the class of how you would have that peer interaction. And of course, because it's a high school student, they would listen to anything. They'd jump off a bridge for them, right? Because they're cool and whatever. So this was really successful. This is an 8th grader here that the 8th graders would go down, use their own accounts, schedule their own help time, and the students at the high school level would basically be available to do live video help tasks for maybe it's just reading your story, maybe it's grammatical errors, whatever it is that they needed, they'd be available to help them, and they're physically not in the same building.
And then we have students who cannot be in the classroom at the time. Like, for instance, when Mr. Kelley went up to Edmonton, some students on the way back, they don't want to miss a lecture in class. So we use Hangouts and put the computer in the class, and they can watch the lecture when they're not even there. That way they don't get quite as far back in the class as if they would if they weren't there. And this is really helpful because the student can communicate with the teacher, and the teacher can communicate with the student as if he was really there or she was really there. And like in Hangouts, there's like a couple different cool things that happen. Like you can put like a pirate hat on or something like that. And we've done that a couple times while we were in the middle class, but it was really funny.
And this was fun too, because in this one of the students was actually part of a team that was presenting that day. So she was in Edmonton, and the 2 other students were in the class. And because with Google Hangouts, you can have like a Google presentation open and available. So she was contributing and hitting next and being part of it as if she was standing in the same room. If she hadn't been able to do that, she wouldn't have been able on the trip. So think about that. We were going for about a week to Canada. She would have missed an entire week's trip for a 1-hour class, right? So the idea is like, look, if we can do this virtually and not miss too much, obviously face-to-face is better, but if you can make it work, then this is going to make the whole thing better, and she won't miss out and so forth. And we have a lot of our students who travel with us, the tech Sherpas, as they go around and do workshops, you know, they're not allowed to miss class, so we'll set them up in Hangouts, they'll be in the classroom. Our teachers now are more and more comfortable with seeing just a laptop sitting there with a, you know, smiling face at the other end and talk with them and communicate with them, and it's become more commonplace. Oh yeah, the robotic telepresence. So here's another kind of fun example. So one of the things we do at our middle school level is we build BattleBots. We use Lego Mindstorms. The kids, you know, build robots and they crash into each other and we have a great time. And one of the deals is you can run your robot. We use Bluetooth with a Chrome extension to be able to control the robot. The only difference is, the only rule is you can't be in the same room. Because we want to mimic some of that telepresence. Like if you're, you know, have a Mars rover, you don't get to look at it while you're driving around. If you have an undersea, you know, a submarine, you have to do it remotely. So we'll actually set up a couple laptops. You can see here, there's one at the bottom. On the side, there's actually a camera up above you can't see right now. And the kids will see 3 different views. They're controlling it all from different cameras. And so we're using Hangouts as an easy way to manage that. And they'll have one student that will run the camera view, like which one is the best view to click on, and the other students will actually be running it. They don't like the latency. Like that's one of the things they complain about, because they'll turn right, it'll take a little while to turn right. But again, if you have a Mars rover, you have about 8 minutes of latency. So you have to figure that out. What's going to work? Why does that work? What doesn't work? This is just a fun way to do that. So we also have a student here. This is Jasmine, and she's an 8th grader, and she's homebound. She has a feeding tube, and she has other medical conditions that mean that she's not able to come to class. And so we've been using Hangouts, and we've actually been using a double robotic, which is, you guys seen Shellbot, you know, from Big Bang Theory? Okay, so we've got a JazzBot. And so basically she comes to class, and she does it totally virtually from home, and she drives to class, and the kids talk with her. She has 4 classes right now. Next year we're hoping to be a full schedule. And the thing that she's most excited about it is, when the kids see her before, when she was in class, she was with the school until 4th grade, and then because of her condition, she really had to be homebound and was not able to come in. And she would talk about how, like the first day that she was coming into class, she spent 2 hours on her hair, because she was so, you know, because she doesn't get that kind of social interaction that we take for granted, right? And so when the kids saw her, one of the girls said, "Oh, Jasmine, I like your hair today," and she just blew. So that ability to be able to provide that with this, you know, with the software, the hardware we have right in class, not a big deal. And now she's able to go to class. They told her around. The kids talk to her just like one of the class members. It's really changed her life. It's really made a big difference. We have a video here. I'm not going to be able to play it right now for time-wise, but basically going through that whole story if you're interested. Just FYI for those people that just showed up, all these resources that I'm sharing, all the slideshows and so forth, are at this bit.ly here. So it's Tech Sherpa 60. And if you zoom that in a little bit. And it is cap sensitive, so it is capital T, capital S, capital I, S, T, E. So that will bring you to this page, and from here, all of our references, all of our resources we have. Let everybody snap a photo. Get it? Sorry, I should back real quick. So nope, how much time I got? Is it time? It's time. Keep going? All right, keep going. All right. I can keep gabbing, sure. So the last really big one, again, I mentioned that a couple years ago, 2010, I was asked to present at the Google Teacher Academy in New York. And I said, I'll come if I can bring kids. We're going to bring students with me. They said yes. So we went down, I had 3 students with me. They presented, it was awesome. And one of the things about the Google Teacher Academy is when you leave, you're expected to do what's called a teacher action plan. I mean, you're supposed to do something with this information. We were on the train ride home, and the boys that I had with me, they said, "Hey, Mr. Kelley, we want to do a student action plan. We want to do some of this information." I'm like, "Great, what do you want to do?" And so we're coming back and forth, and they came up with this idea of the Tech Sherpas. We actually, one of the reasons why the name came from is they basically just Googled different domain names, and it was available. You know, so techsherpas.org, it was available. We grabbed it. We were actually on the train ride home. We, like, you know, had the Wi-Fi going and the whole thing. And after we had it up, the idea is every Tuesday at 3 o'clock Eastern time. To be fair, summertime we're a little bit slower, but during the school year, every Tuesday at 3 o'clock, we do a live tech help show. So if you have any questions between any time, you go to techsherpas.org. There's a form right there. You say, "Here's my question. You know, can you help me?" It doesn't have to be Google related. It could be anything. But my students will research during the week how to answer that question, and then create a live tutorial video on, here you go. Here are the steps to do that. We usually get questions from all over the world. We keep a map of different places around the world where we've had people ask us. And we might say, hey, we covered that in episode 37, so go watch that one if you've already done it. But otherwise, feel free to use us as a resource. It's a great opportunity for my kids. That's where they start learning how to present like this. They start getting up there and kind of do that. And one last pitch for the plug for the book. If you are interested in our work that we're doing and want to see it in book form, we're doing an actual physical book with a student certification component. So the idea is there will be a physical book for teachers they can look through because we need the book to hold on to, and our kids get a virtual version of that. They're actually, if they finish, they get certification credit. They kind of make them honorary tech Sherpas, and at that point, we're able to basically share that what we're playing forward from here around the world, hopefully. Any questions? Thank you, Laura.
Thanks, guys. Kern always comes with students, which is so fun to have them presenting at ISTE. So he's one of our featured speakers at our summits that we do, like the Google summits all over. And whenever we ask Kern to come and be a presenter, he always asks, can I bring kids? So it's awesome. So awesome for you guys being here. Thanks so much. Did everybody get scanned to get a ticket?